In Bahrain, McLaren has unquestionably the worst season opening performance. In Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri both missed the cut. Electrical problems caused Piastri to withdraw from the season opening Bahrain Grand Prix, while a pneumatic leak forced Norris to visit the pits 6 times. It's clear to say that McLaren has had a poor race. After all, 2 mechanical failures in one race are typically a Ferrari-style blunder. When will McLaren make the jump up they keep promising to make? It's a query we've been asking ourselves for the past couple of years. And it comes up again. When will they hand Lando the car that will win the race? How long will Lando want to remain at McLaren if they continue to disappoint year after year? I don't want you to think that because of just one race the entire 2023 season for McLaren is over. Just take a look at last year, 4 races after poor Bahrain performance in which they had brake problems and failed to end points with both drivers. They became the first and only team outside of the top 3 teams in 2022 to place on the podium with Lando Norris. As unlikely as it may seem right now, things in Formula 1 can change very fast. McLaren still has plenty of opportunities to compete for points, podiums and, if the circumstances are right, even victories. Having said that, McLaren began speaking as if they were on the back foot even before their debut. Bahrain's victory in the end wasn't even all that surprising because of their poor pre-season test, which saw them complete fewer miles than any other squad and move slowly while doing those miles. The word that springs to mind first, in my opinion, is a disappointment. On the surface, McLaren appears to be doing so much right, but in the 2023, their competitive position has slipped even further from where it was at the close of 2022. Even with the disastrous first race, Aston Martin appeared to be the second best team on the starting grid, and Alpine showed some encouraging indications with Ocon qualifying in Q3, and even cheerfully fighting back to finish in the points in P9 after starting in P20. Lando finished 11th in qualifying, just missing out on Q3, and during his 14 circuits of racing he competed against Ocon and Albon Sargent. A new team principal, Andrea Stella, was a lot more positive after the race, saying, "I think the most positive element is without issues Lando, who would have been a strong contender for points." Andrea Stella said after the race, "The race car's speed was almost beyond what was expected. The work we did over the winter to attempt to enhance the interaction between the car and the tyres, I believe paid off in this race. This was undoubtedly a strong position for Lando. But Oscar also had excellent degradation in the first stint. He passed cars, it was a very close race, so we could have had 2 cars in the points. That is even more encouraging as a result." If the tie degradation is as good as Stella suggests, that means we never really got to see the McLaren at its strongest, which, similar to the Aston Martin, would have come towards the end of each spin as everyone else's tyres would have started to wear off. Watching the race back, it wasn't as bad as it seemed on the surface because genuinely without issues, a double point score wasn't entirely out of the question. It also means that one of the strengths of the MCL 60, which hopefully we'll see more of in the upcoming races on more tyre sensitive tracks, is when you look at some of the top teams like Mercedes and Ferrari who battled with their tyre wear. Despite all of these advantages, Stella felt the need to comment that the car's speed was faster than it had been anticipated in Bahrain. I don't think that's a good idea. The reality that the team knew they were in trouble going in and couldn't resolve it during the winter only serves to aggravate my frustration. We are aware that significant structural changes are currently taking place in McLaren, where a brand new wind tunnel is being built as well as a new driver that's being tested in the simulator. However, based on the results of last year and now this year, I believe that McLaren is facing much more serious issues that a brand new wind tunnel just cannot resolve. In the end, a wind tunnel and simulator are just correlation tools. They're there to let you know whether the components you're creating are performing as you anticipated. However, McLaren has now produced 2 vehicles that aren't just slow. However, as Lando Norris has hinted at over the past 2 years, they also appear to have challenging driving characteristics that make them more difficult to drive while providing no performance advantage. This is definitely frustrating because the technical department is not functioning well. The team as a whole is performing at a very good level in so many other areas. In terms of business, I contend that McLaren is likely the best squad on the grid, given that they currently have 44 official partners listed on their website. I mean, the amount of sponsors they have is even startling to become a running joke. Additionally, they were the first team in Formula 1 to incorporate cutting-edge tech in their cars. However, it has also resulted in some internet users claiming that Norris and Piastri are essentially driving around in an orange tractor with an Amazon Kindle on the side. There is just so much that McLaren is doing correctly. Unfortunately, this isn't showing up in their technological division, which is where real performance originates. James Scathe, the technical head, started working for McLaren in the middle of 2019. Norris and Ricciardo, his vehicles in the hands of science, have earned podium finishes and even a merit victory. But given all the characteristics these cars seem to share, and the fact that they have 2 consecutive disappointing season debuts, pressure will be building on James Scathe. Because McLaren demonstrated last year that they can effectively develop a vehicle throughout the season. I'm confident that James Scathe and McLaren will enhance the MCL60. But I'm still not sure they fully grasp the reason behind their car's perplexing characteristics, and they overlook the lack of downforce. If you don't comprehend why your concept isn't working, it doesn't matter how good your tools, facility or wind tunnel are. The issues that preventing you from moving forward is likely much more basic and deeply ingrained. Since the beginning of the year, I honestly believe that Lando's tone has changed a little bit. Perhaps you can say that he's just getting older, but to me, he doesn't seem to have the same bubbly, always smiley personality from a few seasons back. Will Buxton claim that Lando reportedly punched a wall while being tested, which I don't completely confirm or deny. He appears to be much more pessimistic than ever in interviews. Although his contract is valid through to the end of 2025, I don't believe he will stay with the club for that long if there are no signs of improvement. He will be the subject of persistent allegations that he is connected to Red Bull. Now everything hinges on Sergio Perez and the result of the first race, not Lando. Checo performed admirably and is not deserving of having his position contested. He qualified just a 10th behind Max but lost ground during the race to take second place and give the squad a 1-2. Even though I don't believe Checo deserves to be replaced anytime soon, it is clear that Christian Horner has a thing for Lando. Lando being so close places Checo under even more pressure because Horner will turn to Lando as a replacement driver if Checo underperforms with Lando almost there in the background. Even though McLaren does so many things right, the most crucial aspect is that the vehicle continues to appear off. There is no question that they will get better throughout the season and have a lot of strong races, but how long do you think Lando will wait before he decides enough is enough? They will continue to show signs of no improvement. Will McLaren still be around in 2024 if they appear as bad at the end of 2023 as they do now?